I'm finally getting around to this one. Definitely needed. Welcome back to Y.E.S, everybody. Today we're going to talk about Folklore, the 8th studio album released by Taylor Swift. When Miss Swift released her album Lover last year, if you were able to see that review, I mean, it's still up, but all the same, I shared quite a dismay for that album. I know a lot of people who really enjoyed that album. I am not one of those people. I thought it was supremely overrated, and she just tainted it so much with so many things that I just don't care for. Nevertheless, it was not the ultra super bad as maybe I'm making it out to be. It had some redeeming qualities, but just barely. So when I heard that she was going to release an album this year, following pretty much almost right after, I was a little skeptical as to how the heck she managed to do that and why now. And I have some ideas, perhaps, as to why she decided to move so quickly on a new album. But whatever her motivations really were, she's probably provided something better here for us than her last 2 albums have done. Now, I'm going to admit, the first time I listened to this album, I was only semi-impressed. There were things that I thought were working well, but I was slightly detached from it, and I'm still not entirely sure why that is. I was wondering maybe it was the method as to how I was listening to it, but like I emphasize, gotta give it at least more than one listen. Second time around, I was impressed with a lot of this album. I'll get into a few negatives later, but I'm going to highlight the positives because that is what really is getting to me right now. First song that definitely makes an impression is the song Cardigan. This one has definitely gotten the attention of lots of people, and for good reason. It has very beautiful strings and some pretty interesting percussion, I might add. Just curiously effective. That's kind of the way that I look at it. I also really like the fact that she had Bon Iver on the song Exile. Now, Vernon's vocals on the bass portion in that song, I was a little iffy on, but it eventually kind of molds well with the rest of the song once he rises from that octave. The song The Last Great American Dynasty, the guitars in that song, wow. Yeah, I would listen to the song just for that. Really pay attention to them if you haven't before. I would really, really recommend that. The first song I could really grasp onto, really just think, okay, she's in her groove now, is the song Mirror Ball. Tiptoes. Yeah, I can relate. Following immediately after that song is the song 7. This one kind of has a mood where it's like looking back at your childhood, both regarding your feelings and your memories. You can kind of put those two together in many ways. And I will need to highlight the piano that really captivates and allows the ambiance to really bring you, or perhaps probably reel you in very well. And then, following immediately after that song, is August. This is the part where I get to have a moment to actually credit the songwriting. I will admit there are times where I think Taylor Swift's songwriting isn't necessarily overrated, but it probably is a little overhyped. But here, I am not going to argue with that. Such lines as, "You weren't mine to lose," there's a profound moment to think about in that right there. And "living for the hope of it all." I can personally relate with that a lot because I'm naturally an optimist versus a lot of other people, especially on the internet these days. And I don't mean to give false hope because I know what that is, and it is agonizing. Trust me, that's internal torment right there. But the fact that I could relate with that, I was like, okay, there's something there. and she is getting to something, and I don't understand why that was so hard to try and do for the last album. And before I forget, I want to highlight Epiphany. Based on what I researched, this song is in reference to her grandfather's military service. And I thought that there's a chance that that could kind of be a little touchy in a funny kind of way. I'm not sure really what I was expecting when I was looking at that. I just admired that song. Now, as I mentioned before, I do have a few negatives, albeit not as many as I thought I was going to find in this album. Again, maybe I was being a little prejudgmental, but thankfully, I try to give music a chance. The song My Tears Ricochet, I had moments where I liked this song because it does talk about internal torment, but not everything in this song was totally grasping. The song Mad Woman kind of, I think in my mind, should have had a little bit more of a subtle burn to it, maybe something a little bit more slow or kind of just not going all the way too quickly kind of thing. The song Betty is like a song where you're like, dude, you messed up. And there's a lot of it where I was thinking, yeah, I know a lot of situations and stories that I've heard where I would just be like, this would be exactly that scenario. But at the same time, there's a little bit of it that's just kind of off-putting. Just a little. Beyond that, the only other thing that I would say that I just don't like about this album is that she includes words in some of her lyrics that I think just don't mesh with the tone of what the album is going for. It hits right here a little differently. So sometimes you got to be careful. Beyond that, I would really like to say congratulations on making a much better album to Taylor out there. So after having listened and reviewed this album, I'm going to give production an A, creativity an A-, expression and lyrics a B, and how would I recommend this album? I'm actually going to give this album a yeah. That was shocking to me. But again, like I was saying before, I was taken back as to how quickly this was coming about. When an artist does that, especially an artist like her, I worry so much that they just kind of wanted to get something out there and not care about the quality of it. Yeah, this one speaks volumes. Thank you. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to engage with me more, be sure to check out my social media links down in the description, and be sure to leave me one of these if you like the video, and a comment if you also want to engage with me here. And remember, if you want to discover, promote, and review the best in entertainment, be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can get that yes in your life. See you next time.